Winners don't wait for inspiration, they decide. Before the sun rises, before the world claps for them, before the results ever come, winners decide who they are. Every day, no matter what. And that decision becomes law. It becomes the compass, the internal contract that cannot be broken. See, average minds wake up hoping for motivation. Winners wake up and manufacture it. They don't ask the day to be easy. They ask for the strength to dominate it. They don't beg for less problems. They rise with the mindset that no problem will outlast their purpose. Every morning they put on mental armor. While others are checking notifications, they're checking themselves. While others are reacting to life, they're rehearsing their vision. They've trained their minds to think in alignment with their future, not their feelings. They've declared war on excuses, on weakness, on the old voices that try to resurrect doubt. Because winners know, if you don't train your mind, the world will train it for you. And the world doesn't care about your greatness, only your compliance. Every winner was once a beginner, but what made them different was their thinking. They didn't just wish, they assumed. They assumed the outcome. They assumed the result, not because they were arrogant, but because they understood the law. What you believe becomes what you build. What you assume becomes what you attract. Henry Ford said it best. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. But most people wake up and think, can I do this? Winners wake up and think, it's already done. Now I just align my behavior. It's not blind confidence. It's mental responsibility. It's an understanding that your dominant thoughts shape your dominant outcomes. It's a discipline and a philosophy, a refusal to live as a slave to moods or memories. Winners don't live in the past. They extract lessons, then burn the rest. They don't replay old failures. They study them once, write down the code, and upgrade their software. Every thought is filtered. Does this align with the identity I've chosen? If not, delete it. If it weakens, starve it. If it strengthens, feed it. Their mind is a fortress, not because they never get attacked, but because they never let weak thoughts live rent-free. And you can feel it when they walk in the room. There's a gravity to them, a focus, a stillness, not because life is easier for them, but because they've mastered the battlefield most people ignore, their own mind. Every day a winner speaks to themselves like someone they respect. They don't entertain self-pity. They don't tolerate self-betrayal. They correct themselves in real time. If a weak thought slips through, I can't do this, they catch it like a sniper. That's not who I am. I'm the one who finds a way. I'm the one who stays calm under fire. I'm the one who bends reality through sheer will. That's not ego, that's mental training. Because if you allow your thinking to drift, your destiny will too. The average person lives on autopilot, drifting from doubt to distraction. But a winner builds every day like a sculptor with a chisel. Every decision is intentional. Every thought is scrutinized. Every challenge is converted into fuel. Their default setting is dominance, not dominance over others, dominance over self, over temptation, over fatigue, over fear, over comparison, over mediocrity dressed up as balance. Because winners know your mind is either planting seeds or digging graves. Every single thought is constructing your future or destroying your potential. There's no neutral ground. There's no kind of committed. There's no maybe. Everything changes when you stop trying to improve your life from the outside in and start shaping it from the inside out. You don't need a new strategy. You need a new standard. And standards are not set by what you say you want. They're revealed by what you tolerate, what you allow to continue, what you excuse in yourself. Do you wake up when the alarm goes off, or do you snooze it and lie to yourself that 5 more minutes won't hurt? Do you finish what you start, or do you stack half-built bridges that lead nowhere? Do you train your body, your mind, your craft, or do you numb your time with distractions and justify it with "I'm tired"? That's where your future is being built, in those silent decisions no one else sees. That's the battlefield where identity is won or lost. The person you're meant to become, they don't wait for motivation. They are governed by purpose. They move with precision. They speak with clarity. They walk into rooms with presence, not because they're faking it, but because they've earned it. Every late night when you wanted to quit but didn't, that's where character was built. Every early morning when the bed begged you to stay, but you chose mission over mood, that's when you rose. Not just in routine, in identity. because becoming isn't something that happens in a moment. It's not found in some big opportunity or breakthrough. It's in the grind, the boring, the mundane, the days you wanted to disappear but showed up anyway. You think kings are born in light? They're born in the dark, in silence, in rejection, in failure after failure, when they still chose to keep going. Do not underestimate how powerful you become when you consistently do what others avoid. That's what makes you rare. That's what builds the kind of internal gravity that pulls opportunity toward you. Not because you begged for it, because you became the kind of person who attracts it. You don't chase success. You build a version of yourself so aligned, so undeniable, that success has no choice but to show up. You think Tesla built his empire by waiting for the right mood? He slept in his lab. He worked through illness. He thought in years, not minutes. He didn't just act like a genius. He lived it day in, day out, without apology. You want to become the person you're meant to be? Then stop negotiating with your old self. That version of you, the one who settled, who feared, who avoided hard things, they don't get a vote anymore. You've outgrown them. The mind that got you here won't get you there. The habits that kept you safe won't make you strong. The identity that helped you survive won't help you thrive. So burn the script, rewrite the rules, and stop showing up like you're half committed to your own life, because the future belongs to the one who acts like they've already claimed it, who walks with the fire of certainty, who makes decisions with conviction, not convenience, who builds without applause, trains without needing validation, creates without asking permission. That's what makes you dangerous. Not your talent, your standards, your consistency, your identity, forged, tested, refined. Every step forward from this moment must say, I already am the person I was born to become. Because once you live from that place, the world has no choice but to respond. You already know who you're supposed to be. You feel it in your gut. Not the version of you that wakes up tired, distracted, and doubtful. Not the version that second guesses, apologizes for dreaming, or waits for someone to give permission. No, deeper than all that, there is a version of you that is clear, powerful, disciplined, unstoppable. And the reason you feel that inner tension, it's because you're not acting like them yet. You're still trying to solve future problems with old patterns, still speaking like the old you, thinking like the version that failed, moving like the version that's waiting. But the future doesn't belong to the one who waits. It belongs to the one who becomes. The world doesn't give you what you deserve. It gives you what you match. Your habits, your words, your energy, they broadcast who you are, not who you wish to be, not who you used to be, who you are right now, in this moment. And if who you are is still thinking small, still hoping instead of building, still wishing instead of working, the world reflects that back, not to punish you, but to wake you up. The game changed the moment you realize this. You don't become successful and then act like that person. You act like that person and then you become successful, not the other way around. That means showing up before you feel ready, speaking with clarity before you have proof, moving with intention before you have results, because belief is a discipline, not a mood. Think of Lincoln. He didn't wait to feel powerful. He spoke words that shaped nations even when his own voice trembled. Carnegie didn't wait to feel worthy of wealth. He moved through steel and smoke with a vision so bold it made kings nervous. Edison didn't wait for perfect conditions. He failed his way forward until the darkness surrendered. What if you stopped negotiating with fear, stopped worshiping your limitations, stopped telling yourself stories that were written by weaker versions of you? What if, starting today, you acted like the person you're meant to become, not pretend, not fake, but fully embody, with discipline, with fire, with absolute command? Because the greatest transformation you'll ever experience is not when your bank account changes. It's when your identity changes. And identity is not found, it's forged through daily decisions, through relentless action, through the refusal to let your circumstances write your destiny. You've waited long enough. You've collected enough quotes. You've watched enough videos, heard enough enough sermons, journaled enough dreams. Now is the time to become. Not tomorrow, not when you have more clarity, not when you feel more confident. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a byproduct. And it only comes to the one bold enough to act before they feel ready. Every time you take aligned action, you cast a vote for your future self. Every time you show up with discipline, you reinforce the identity you're building. And every time you refuse to settle, the universe takes note. But if you keep acting like the version of you that gave up, if you keep repeating the habits of the version that doubted, if you keep reacting like the version that feared everything, then you stay there. You don't grow into your future, you decay into your past. That's the quiet tragedy of most lives. They had greatness inside them, but they never acted like it. Clarity is the first weapon. You cannot hit a target you cannot see, and yet most people stumble through life with fogged up vision, chasing shadows, following crowds, obeying the script they never wrote. They chase money without a mission. They chase validation without values. And in the end, they lose both. If you want to be part of the 3%, you must become obsessed, not with results, but with direction. Ask yourself, not what do I want today, but what must I build for the next 10 years? What legacy must I carve with my life? Not what job pays the most, but what work awakens me. Because when your vision is clear, decisions become easy. Distractions lose their power. Time becomes a weapon, not a burden. And you move through life with the force of a man or woman on a mission. Henry Ford didn't ask what was possible. He asked what was necessary. Lincoln didn't ask for approval. He asked what was right. Walt Disney was laughed out of multiple studios, fired for lacking imagination, and yet he imagined a world that didn't exist and built it anyway. That's the kind of clarity the 3% live with. Not a clarity based on what's safe, but on what's necessary. Necessary for their purpose, necessary for their calling, necessary for the man or woman they were born to become. But clarity means nothing without action. Ideas are cheap. Everyone has them. Execution is the currency of success. And here's where 97% fail again. They wait for motivation. They wait until they feel ready. They confuse emotion with commitment. They pray for the mood instead of training the muscle. Discipline is not about how you feel. It's about who you decide to be, over and over and over again. When it's boring, when it's hard, when it's lonely, when no one claps, that's the forge where winners are made. Motivation whispers, discipline commands, and that's what separates those who wish from those who win. You think Carnegie felt like getting up? There is no maybe in the mind of a winner. There is only must. Must is a different vibration. It leaves no back door, no loophole, no way out. When something becomes a must, it bypasses negotiation and becomes identity. The difference between I want to win and I must win is the same difference between a wish and a force of nature. Winners think in absolutes, not because they're rigid, but because they understand how easily the human mind justifies weakness. If you give the mind a crack, it will turn it into a canyon. If you leave room for doubt, it will flood your confidence. But when your mind is set like stone, when your standard is non-negotiable, the world bends. Winners don't wait for clarity. They create it. They don't wait for the perfect plan, the perfect conditions, or the perfect timing, because they know that perfection is just procrastination in disguise. They move with imperfect certainty. They understand that momentum reveals clarity faster than thought ever could. While the world is busy trying to figure it all out, winners are already executing, adjusting, building, learning, bleeding forward. Because winners don't worship the plan, they worship the mission. And when you're mission-minded, fear becomes fuel, doubt becomes data, failure becomes feedback. You stop fearing mistakes because you know the real mistake is inaction. The real failure is waiting for permission to act. The real loss is playing it safe and dying with brilliance buried inside you. Winners move differently. They speak differently. They ask better questions. They don't say, "Can I afford this?" They say, "How can I create this?" They don't say, "What if it goes wrong?" They ask, what if I become unstoppable because of this? Their language is built to reinforce belief. Every word they speak is a brick laid in the construction of their future. They understand that the mind listens, and it listens literally. If you say you're tired, you'll feel it more. If you say it's impossible, your brain will agree. But if you speak with power, your subconscious adapts. If you say, I'm built for this, your body starts responding. Your spirit starts aligning. Your energy starts shifting. This is not theory. This is law, the law of belief, the law of assumption, the law that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Winners master that law. They program their thinking like engineers of destiny. They feed themselves thoughts of resilience, discipline, hunger, expansion. And if the old programming tries to creep back in, the programming of doubt, laziness, victimhood, they don't entertain it. They replace it. Because here's what winners know. Your old identity will try to resurrect itself daily. It will knock on your door dressed in yesterday's thoughts. It will tempt you to be who you were, not who you're becoming. And if you're not vigilant, if you're not ruthless about your mental environment, that old identity will sneak back in and run your life like it never left. That's why winners protect their focus like their future depends on it, because it does. Focus isn't just about doing one thing at a time. It's about eliminating everything that dilutes your energy. It's about saying no with conviction, no to gossip, no to distraction, no to anything that feeds the weaker version of you. Focus is a lifestyle. It's the discipline to do the hard things when no one is watching, the integrity to show up on the days you don't feel like it, the awareness to catch your thoughts before they spiral, the obsession to keep the vision burning even when the fire goes out in everyone else. And that's what separates winners. They keep the fire lit, even in the dark, even when the results haven't shown up yet, even when they're doubted, dismissed, misunderstood. They keep going because they don't move for applause. They move because stopping would be betrayal. Betrayal of their potential, betrayal of the gifts they were given, betrayal of the standard they've committed to. Winners don't need hype. They've made discipline their religion. They don't chase motivation. They create rituals. And every day they follow them, not because it's exciting, but because it's necessary. Winners build systems that don't rely on emotion. They don't ask how they feel, and they ask what's required of me today. And then they do it with precision, because repetition is the real magic. The average man calls it boring. The winner calls it mastery. Winners understand you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and your systems are built by your thoughts. What you think consistently becomes what you do. What you do consistently becomes who you are. Who you are, that's what shapes your results. So if you want to live like a winner, you have to think like one every day.